Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, April 12th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, just a short time ago, a magnitude 6.8 hit right off the coast in Indonesia. We have a lot of solar activity to talk about. And Sunspot 2738 seems to be disintegrating quite a bit. There may be no reason to worry about it as it passes by the Earth over the next couple of days. Also, just the other day, I had another new discovery of our Planet X object lurking on the left side of the sun, not too far from where this Sunspot 2738 developed. We also have some very, very wild weather in the Midwest, and I'm sure all of you have seen it on your local news. You know, folks, I keep getting all of these emails and people sending me these photographs. Excuse me. You know, people are telling me that they're seeing planets in the skies, and maybe they are listening to other YouTube channels that are, you know, showing lens flares and you know, anomalies from the cameras and things of that nature. And folks, look, I'm not trying to sit here and be mean and discredit people, but here's the thing, and I've said this many, many times before. If you want to get down to the real scientific evidence of Planet X and these stellar cores that are lurking near the sun, and there's a very, very large one, and I'm sure that there are probably smaller ones that are not quite visible in the space cameras that are provided to us on local public access, Stereo, Soho, and Secchi, and so on. But you know, my email gets flooded with all of these, you know, emails, people showing me these pictures and claiming that they are planets in the skies. And a lot of them come from the FAA webcams. A lot of it is up there near Alaska, some of those spots. And I'm going to be quite honest with you folks. I've been down that path way back in 2016. And, you know, I'm just going to say it once again. You're not going to see these objects on any type of weather cam. I mean, I'm sorry to say it. Get mad at me if you want. Call me names. Send me threatening emails. You know, it is what it is. If you really want to get down to what is actually happening out there, then pay attention to what I'm saying. There's a lot of people on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter looking for this notoriety, and they will put photographs out there that they find and they doctor, and they want you to believe in what they're showing you. Now, just the other day, I had a little bit of a spat and an argument with a man who was showing thermal photographs of Jupiter, excuse me, and he was claiming to everybody that these thermal images of Jupiter was Nibiru, was Nemesis, was the Planet X. And I clearly showed him where the photographs came from, because they didn't look like Jupiter. I mean, you know, they were thermal photographs, so it just didn't look like Jupiter. Looked like a red planet with some kind of hazy looking white cloud formations within the planet's atmosphere. Look, I saw the pictures last year, and that's why I kind of jumped at my eye, and I'm reading this guy's post, you know, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. There's a lot of things that are going on within, if you want to call it the Planet X community, Nibiru community, whatever you want to call it. People just looking for this notoriety, making, you know, really bold statements. people sending me emails and saying, look, I've captured it in the sky, but it's nothing more than a pink lens flare. Or, they're looking at these domed weather cams, which give you obscured views. I have people sending me these photographs from the All Sky Cam network, and those are all just complete garbage. I would say the only thing that you may capture on the FAA webcams are possibly views of the sun simulator, breakdowns of the sun simulator. That's where I've caught some really wild looking anomalies showing lenses, huge lenses, and that goes back a couple of years. And Jeff P's also done some extensive work on capturing these huge lenses up there. But I'm not going to get into this whole sun simulator thing, but I'm not trying to correct all of you either. But if you want to believe in the real science, then learn to distinguish between the fakes and the frauds. That's all I can say. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into this magnitude 6.8 earthquake. Let me go ahead and drop this screen here. And, it happened not too long ago. And don't tell me they've taken it off the map already. Okay, there. Bingo. Here we go. It was a magnitude 6.8, very shallow, only a depth of 17.48 kilometers. Very, very shallow. And just 24 minutes ago, followed behind that 6.8 was a magnitude 5.0. 2 hours before that, magnitude 4.9. And then over in Papua New Guinea, magnitude 5. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit. Now, these may be different. Let's see who's detecting these first. Sometimes they're repeat earthquakes. Okay, well, these are separate earthquakes. So we do have a magnitude 4.7 and a 5.1 and that huge 6.8. Now, I checked to see if there were any tsunami warnings, because this was very shallow. And normally during these shallow earthquakes, they have more of a potential to create a tsunami. We may get some notification a little bit later on. What I was worried about is this area. Let me just back out here. You see all of these rivers, all these tributaries right here? Based on the location of that earthquake, if a tsunami does roll in, it's going to actually be a little more devastating if it does hit the coastline. You see all of these rivers and these inlets. And that water will be pushed straight up through there. Similar to the storm that just hit off of the coast of Africa. It pushed all of that water in through all of those inlets. And they had a lot of damage. I mean, a lot of damage. Let's see if we can pan over here. It came in right here in Mozambique, and you could see all of these water inlets all along through here. This whole entire area was flooded, and it's still very, very devastating. I'm going to take a back look here, and you can see the earthquake activity that has increased just in the last 24 hours. There's been a little bit of a shakeup out there in Montana over the last couple of days. There have been some moderate earthquakes right around the Yellowstone region. Let's see here. A little more than an hour and a half ago, close to 2 hours ago. Oh, we have an update. Oh, magnitude 5.9, 20 minutes ago in Tonga. Okay, back to what we were talking about here. This was in Idaho about 2 hours, hour and a half ago, sorry. Magnitude 3.4. But there's been a lot of activity right around this region, right around in here. And if you zoom in, Here's your Yellowstone caldera. I'm going to flip this over to the map. And if you take a look at this area, it's pretty barren. And this was probably all destroyed during the last Yellowstone volcanic eruption and just created this barren desert. Land formations all through here. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of earthquake activity all around the globe. I mean, you can see it. It's just everywhere. Central America, magnitude 4.6, Panama. We're going to have to zoom in here a little bit. 4.4, Nicaragua. 4.3, El Salvador. Another one, 4.3 in El Salvador. Puerto Rico, a little bit of activity over there. But you can see odd spots, North Carolina, Alabama, and quite a bit going on in Southern California, along the right along the San Andreas Fault and just a little eastward. But yeah, a lot going on up here in Alaska, and a whole lot going on over here in Japan. 4.6, 4.9, 4.5, 4.8. This earthquake activity, it's definitely going to sustain itself. There's just no doubt about it. Once again, we're over here at the USGS, and I thought for sure that they would downgrade this earthquake, but they did not. Just got to get a little sip of my new coconut berry Red Bull special edition. I have to get my Red Bull plug in there so I get my royalties. Joking. But anyways, folks, you could see, let's zoom in here. You can see right where the epicenter was. And I'm sure everybody around here definitely felt that, especially right in this area here. And again, if there is some type of a tsunami that does roll in, we're going to go ahead and zoom in here. This is a populated area. You can see that there are, I'll move in a little closer. You know, there are communities here. These are streets. Okay, so there's a very high possibility. These are river inlets. That water can zip right up through there. And this whole area can be devastated. It's not very high. The elevations don't start till you get back over here. So this area of land all through here that you see this green line around, which is part of the, you know, where the earthquake was felt, they might be in some trouble here. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see if these tsunami warnings come out, and we'll have to wait and see what occurs. Go ahead and jump out of here, jump out of the live earthquake map. And as far as what's happening with our magnetosphere, I was paying attention to this the last couple of days because there were some things I was seeing that, you know, they were showing me that we might see this increase in earthquake activity coming very, very soon. And sure enough, just over the last 24 to 36 hours, it has really picked up. And we're looking at the magnetopause model. And I'm going to go ahead and let this play. Once again, we're seeing the electrons making their way all the way around our magnetopause. They're making their way around the backside of the Earth. And you can see that little ripple again. It's very strange. I've never seen that before. Very odd. But I'm going to go ahead and just stop this here. And I'm going to move this slider by hand. And I want you to see the fluctuations of our bow shock. It's a little more easier to see it as I move the slider manually. And you could see the intensity as this solar wind comes in and bombards our magnetopause, our bow shock, our shield. And again, you know, the sun is dipping into this solar minimum. They're predicting that we're about to enter it possibly full board in July 2019, just a few months away. I think we are already feeling the effects of it. But watch the bow shock here. This is the imaginary arc right here. And I'm just going to move the slider I'll blow this up a little bit. Let's get into a wider screen so you guys can see it a little bit better. And you'll see the fluctuations. A little easier to see as I move it manually. So there's definitely some intensity there. Excuse me. And this is going from late yesterday all the way into current time. You could see there's definitely some fluctuations. It's definitely being hit. We'll go ahead and jump out of there. As far as the solar wind goes, the solar wind did have a lot of pulses coming in. And the highest speed that I recorded was not too long ago, 952 kilometers per second. That is very, very, very fast. Usually this solar wind will stay around between 500, 600, 700 kilometers as it's coming in pulses. But I recorded this at 952 kilometers per second. Once again, you could see the reversal of the arrows. This energy is coming back around and it's hitting the backside of the Earth. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this all the way back. I'll let this run out and you'll see the solar wind up here. It has really picked up, but it's going back and forth as these pulses of energy come in. And you can see it by the change in color here, the yellow being more intense, getting up into the orange, which would be even more intense. And then you see it just fall off, but then it picks up again. It goes from around 350 to 400, jumps up into the high 7s and 8s relatively quick. And when those pulses come in, it doesn't take that long for those heavily charged particles to now break right through our magnetosphere, our magnetopause, and just penetrate all the way to the core of the Earth. And again, folks, this is something that we are going to have to get used to, almost on a daily occurrence. That is what life is going to be like on this planet for a long, 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 long time. Trust me, anybody that's listening to me now, you will not outlive what is happening to this planet. Damn, that Red Bull's good. I drink one 16-ounce can of that. I'll talk to you guys for 4 straight hours nonstop. But anyways, this is what our current situation's looking like with our solar wind. And I think it might get a little bit worse over the next couple of days. And this is our magnetosphere. I'm going to go ahead and bring that back here. And a lot of fluctuations here. You'll see the polar cap lines, which are the black lines right here. You'll see them reaching out all the way across, crisscrossing each other. And, in this model, they're sensing more of a magnetic field, and they're reaching out. So this is showing me that the Earth is feeling an intense magnetic field, whether it be a combination coming from the sun and the sun and our Planet X object. Because where this object is situated right now is off to the left side of the sun as we are facing it. And I'll show you the photo captures that I recorded just 48 hours ago, and it puts it right there about the 11 o'clock position on the sun, Earth facing. And that may be one of the reasons why this sunspot became so active, because that sunspot was on the backside of the sun. And so was Planet X. So I am thinking there may have been some interaction that started the heavy activity with that sunspot, but the sunspot is turning faster than Planet X is orbiting. So that heavy activity degraded. So what I'm saying is the sunspot degraded, and it is now just about Earth facing. Within the next 24 to 36 hours, it will be dead on with us. That's the most critical time. But as I said, it is losing some strength. I don't think it should be any problem. We may see some small filament releases. I don't think it'll be anything major. But again, you never know. I'll be monitoring it all weekend and all the way into probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as it passes by to the right of the Earth. But you can see there's definitely pulses of energy coming in. You can see how dark this orange color is here. And those are the pulses, the heavily charged electrons, and they're blasting our bow shock right now. Now, it's not that super intense. But again, because the Earth's magnetic field works off of the sun's magnetic field, the sun's magnetic field is getting weaker, which means ours is getting weaker. So even moderate bombardments from the sun are going to affect the Earth in a greater way. So this is only going to progress, folks. I'm not trying to be Donnie Downer here. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm just trying to let all of you know that, we are only in the beginning phases, the infancy of what is about to happen to this planet. And, there may be some people out there that really don't care. There may be some people out there that are just taking this very lightly, or they call it pseudoscience. Hey, listen, call it what you want, but each and every human being on this planet is living this in real time. It is happening right now. And we are going to see some things in the course of the next decade that are going to blow your mind. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to lose their lives based on, earthquake activity, volcanic activity, and definitely raging weather. And this weather is going to continue to rage out of control as time goes by. Remember, like I said, the weather is going to be your worst nightmare and your biggest enemy. We'll go ahead and jump out of here. Get out of the space weather. And I was just looking at the solar wind model, and I don't know exactly where. I'm gonna go ahead and start this. Let this load. I'm gonna back this up a little bit here. This energy coming from the sun here, as you can see, there's really no coronal holes in this area at this time. But the model, this model is showing a very moderate stream coming from the sun. But as you go on, I'm just going to move this manually. And this one passed by just yesterday. And it did not even get that close to the Earth. However, we're halfway between the 11th and the 12th. I'm going to go ahead and move it just a little bit. Move it till today. It has passed us already. So this model may be off just a little bit. We may have actually received a more of a closer glancing blow, which has stirred up all of this earthquake activity. But this model is stretching out all the way between the 17th and 18th of April. I want you to watch very closely to see what is about to happen in the course of these next couple of days. So these models are based on all of the data that they're getting from their satellites out there in space. So I'm going to go ahead and move this, and I want you to watch the area where my cursor is. Watch this area right here, and you're going to see by the end of the week, the end of this upcoming week, we may be in for a lot more activity. So let's just go ahead and check this out, and you can see this starting to erupt. Now, this is going to be just about the time that this Sunspot 2738 is directly Earth-facing. I had a lot of people asking me when it was going to be Earth-facing, and I did say it would be just about the 13th, between the 13th and the 14th. Well, here you go. There it is, and I don't know, folks. Maybe they are seeing some things based on their data that they're really not putting out there yet. Because I keep updated on all of these reports that come out. I get them, and they're all just, moderate, low scale, nothing to worry about. But when I look at things and I start digging around, I kind of see the complete opposite. So let's just watch this come in, and you can see the expansiveness of it. And there we go. Now we're right between the 16th and 17th of April, and you can see right where the Earth is. Now, will the Earth get a glancing blow? And again, this model can be slightly off. This area right here, which is coming from the sun, and that's going to be supposedly coming from the sunspot. That's what I'm assuming. And you could see that it may possibly just envelop the entire Earth. So we're just a little bit midway between the 16th and the 17th here. We're going to go ahead and move it a little further. And you can see by halfway through the 17th into the 18th, you can see that we are already into this heavily charged particles coming from the sun. There is a very, very strong area right there where you see it in yellow. And again, over the course of the next week, this could change. The direction of this stream can change, and the Earth may possibly be right dead center of this solar activity. So we will see. You can see it come out. And I'm assuming that this energy coming out right here, this is directly Earth-facing, and that is the precise time that this sunspot will be directly aligned with the Earth. And you can see they're predicting something. The models are showing something. So we'll see. Now, the radial velocity here seems to be very low. And that means a low speed. And maybe that's something that we don't want to see. A low speed, which means, prolonged contact with these heavily charged particles bombarding the Earth. Maybe sometimes faster is better. It comes in, it goes out, and we're done. When it comes in slower, we're just exposed to it much longer. So this is what we have to look forward to. This is what we have to watch very closely over the course of the next upcoming week. Very interesting. There's going to be a lot of interesting things to watch with space weather over the course of the next couple of years. No doubt about that. We'll go ahead and jump out of here. And I want to go ahead and show all of you, I don't know if you've seen this massive, I'll call it a cyclone, because that's exactly what it is. It has some very, very dynamic rotation. And this is what is destroying the Midwest right now with all of the snow. There's rain, there's freezing rain. I'm over here in the Pittsburgh area, right there where my cursor is. We have a line of thunderstorms that are going to be moving up through here Oh, I think it's set around between 2:30 and 5:30 this afternoon, with very, very heavy winds, heavy downpours, and thunder and lightning. So our ground is already saturated enough here. We have landslides and mudslides and rock slides around the area every single day, and this may trigger even more. And you can see this whole line right here. It's a coming, but the one that they're looking at is right about right here. You can see it kind of fades off, but we're just looking at the cloud view here, and we can go ahead and change that into the infrared long wave, and we can get a little bit better view. This is a monster storm. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, these are like cyclones that are making their way right across the United States. I was looking at some flooding footage yesterday and the day before over in the state of Oregon. I didn't even realize that was happening over in Oregon, but there's a lot of flood damage in several communities over there. And it looks like there's going to be more coming in. You could see it over on the backside here. Some of it dissipates. But this monster right here, we'll zoom in a little bit. Just look at that thing. Just take a gander at that. And I think that over the course of time, these massive cyclonic features that we're looking at now, I think they're going to become commonplace. I mean, this is what our weather is going to be like. Everybody up in the states of Wisconsin and Michigan and the state of Illinois, and once again, Nebraska taking hits, sections of Montana, Minnesota. I mean, this is very, very intense weather. I was looking at some of the snowfall reports. Oh my God! I think they were 18 to 24 inches. We'll take another look here. So give us a little bit of a different view, and this will show us more of the intense areas. Now, one good thing that possibly occurred was the upper level winds shearing this apart. You can see that there were some very, very heavy, you can see in the red as it passes by there. Let me actually slow this down a little bit. Whenever the loop starts again, you see those real heavy red areas. I mean, that was very, very intense activity right there. That went right through the state of Wisconsin and up through Michigan and right up into Canada. But you can see the upper level winds start to shear it away, which is a good thing, but it's also pushing it straight across the United States. Now, this section of the country down here, oh boy, they are in for some very serious weather watches again. This whole section, matter of fact, let me get the little mouse drawing feature on here. This whole section down here, this is going to intensify. So once again, we may see some very, very heavy tornado activity in these southern states over the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll see how it goes. And just getting into these areas right here, same thing. As these storms start to push towards the east, it looks like there's going to be some pretty heavy downfalls of rain and a lot of wind. I was looking at some of the wind speeds over the next 12 to 18 hours, and some of them have wind gusts between 50 and 70 miles per hour. So that's going to be making its way directly across this way. So states that are over here, New Jersey, the eastern seaboard states, I'm sure that New York's going to get a lick of this, northern parts of Virginia. We'll see how it goes. Definitely watch your weather if you live in any of these states. Just watch yourself over the next couple of hours, at least into tomorrow. We'll see how fast it moves. But it's definitely something to watch. I'm just going to jump over here real quick because I'm actually kind of curious to see what's happening over on the West Coast. And let's just get a quick different overlay here. We'll see if we see anything forming out here. Oh, there's definitely... You can see, oops. Get out of that drawing feature here. Wow, you can see at the backside of this this cyclonic storm. Wow, that thing really does have some defined formation. That is absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this happen with our weather in all my life. Wow. You can see these other bands of rain coming into Northern California. It seems like it kind of broke up pretty quick. You can see right where my cursor is here. I haven't heard of any reports of, any damage out there in the Northern California area, but that looks like it kind of broke up and dissipated real quick. So enough with our weather. We could go ahead and take a few quick looks at the at this sunspot, and you can see it's got quite a bit of activity. It's actually started to degrade quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and just back up here and go forward, expand our screen a little bit, get a little bit of a closer view. The day before yesterday, as I was watching this sunspot rotate, it was more to the further left of your screen. I detected a very, very small X flare, and NASA didn't report on it. The NOAA didn't report on it, but I saw it. It was very, very small. But, these X flares, they could be very, very damaging. We had one back in 2018, I believe. I believe that was 2018. It was like a 9.2. It was pretty big. It was right over here on this side of the sun. I'm sure all of you probably remember it. But you could see there's a lot of activity going on here. There's some very small filament releases, nothing major. And as you can see, the coronal hole areas, they're pretty much filled in. So when we were looking at that other model, as it was turning towards us, the sunspot, that's where we started to see that other wave of energy coming from the sun impacting the Earth by the end of this upcoming week. By the 17th going into the 18th. And that will be right about the time that this sunspot is right where my cursor is. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're going to move into the 304 here. And I was trying to see if I saw any more of these small X flares, but it looks pretty moderate. It looks like it has degraded quite a bit. Just another view of it, another angstrom of light. And you can see what looks like small lightning bolts, jumping up from the sun. But I've seen ones that were way bigger, way more visibility. Looking at it on the 171 gives you a better view of it. It is spectacular to look at the sun. The sun's just an amazing creature. We'll go ahead and pan down here. And we will see the negative and positive areas of the sunspot have definitely degraded. This area still is pretty heavily charged, and that's where the majority of your activity is coming from right now. But whenever we see the coronal mass ejections from these sunspots, when the negative and positive blend together, that's when you see the explosions, as we'll just call it. But that it's pretty much gone. So that's why I'm saying we may not see anything spectacular come from this sunspot, but it does look like it's going to be sending some energy our way by the end of next week. And I think all that's really going to do is probably induce more volcanic and earthquake activity. And let's just hope that we don't get hit with, several magnitude upper high 6 earthquakes where people and buildings are located. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here, and I'm going to show you guys these photographs. I'm going to get to the one I detected the other day. Finally, some data was coming through on the 4th. And the 4th was that period of time on the SEEDS website, which we weren't getting any data from. And I was searching around and trying to find some of that missing data. And sure enough, I got to it this morning. And this was between the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of April that they blotted out. And this is another view of the coronagraph, so it's kind of from a different side. And what do we have here? Well, there you go. Right there. Right there. Right in our face. I'll go ahead and zoom in. Seems a little obscured, but when you're looking at it on these coronagraphs, they always seem like they have a lot of interference, but it's actually not interference. It's how the camera works. Very interesting. But this was right on the 4th, and this was the data that I was looking to. This was on Stereo Core 2, and this was a little bit of a better close-up of it. And this was 1 frame advanced, and bingo, there you go. I'll just leave that on your screen for a second while I take a sip of my Red Bull. Damn, is that stuff good. Just let that sink in there, folks. You know, for everybody tells you that Planet X is some mythological bullshit story. Okay, well, ask them if they can explain what we're seeing. You know, they can't. This was on the same day. This was actually earlier. And when this object passed by, this was at the point when this sunspot was back behind the sun. This sunspot really started to gain activity when it was behind the sun many days ago. And that was in the beginning of this month. April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, that's when it was behind the sun. And it has rotated. If we were looking at the sun like we are now from Earth facing the sun, that sunspot is now coming around. Well, what was back there? That was back there. So, you know, I mean, look, it's just my theory. But I've seen this happen so many times before. And once again, it's happening, and I have to get out there and prove my point once again. So we have that object right there on the 4th. This was on the stereo core 2. And here's a better view of it. And this view, I turned this into an ultra high definition, and it brings out more of the actual object. And I'm testing out a new program. Started testing it yesterday. And this program allows me to convert a lot of my photographs, even from years ago, convert them into a higher definition, and it allows me to make these, how could I say it, these resolution changes, and the computer program identifies objects within the photograph, and it enhances them. It doesn't change them as, okay, well, maybe this, here, let's make an object there. No, it just enhances the photographs. It corrects the coloring within the photograph. Now, it doesn't work that well with black and white photographs, because we're only dealing with black, white, and different scales of gray. But it does work very well with enhancing the photographs and the screenshots from the SDO and other photos. But this was just amazing to see this object peeping out right from behind the sun. And you know what, folks? This damn thing is not that far back behind the sun. As you're looking at it from this camera view, that object is not very far from the sun. It is close enough to the sun that it gets enveloped in the sun's corona. And that is why we see this activity on the sun. What scares me the most is the sun going into this solar minimum. The sun's magnetic field becoming weaker. Planet X, I don't think that its magnetic field is going to be changed. It may get stronger. I don't know. But if Planet X, if that object's magnetic field starts to interact with the sun in a greater way, it may actually cause and create more activity on the sun in the form of sunspots and coronal mass ejections. And if those coronal mass ejections get hurled towards the Earth, then the possibility of those 3 days of darkness may turn into reality. But like I said, it's going to be a hell of a lot longer than 3 damn days of darkness. It will be more like 10 years or more if it destroys our electrical infrastructure. You can guarantee that. They're not going to fix that overnight. You know, the last hurricane that struck Puerto Rico, you see how long they went without electrical power? I mean, there's still parts of Puerto Rico that they're still working on it. So, you know, just imagine this. Just imagine something like this hitting the snowflakes over there at Silicon Valley. Yeah. Yeah. What are we going to do without Google? What are we going to do without Facebook and Twitter and YouTube? Yeah. Just think about that. But, you know, in all seriousness, forget about social media. What are you going to do at your house? Your home? No electricity. Nothing. Zero. I know a lot of people are investing in those generators. There's a company that manufactures a generator that literally gets installed right outside of your house. It's encased in a big, heavy-duty plastic container. And any type of power outage, it automatically clicks on. Some of them run off of natural gas, but that's risky. Some of them run off of gasoline or diesel fuel. So you're definitely going to have access to some type of fuel to keep that generator running. So we will see what pans out. And that was, just again, another incredible capture. And, if you think about it, and you really want to turn somebody on to what is happening out there by our sun, show them this damn picture and say, okay, Mr. Smart Guy, well, what the hell is that? It sure as hell isn't Mercury, and it sure as hell isn't Jupiter. That's the notorious Planet X, as they call it. And I actually hate that name, because it's been so played out. It's just what we call it, I guess. Maybe eventually I'll give it its own name, since it is now a permanent fixture within our solar system. And I just happened to catch another video from Dave Dobbs and his model. And once again, he was talking about all these adjustments, and he's got, objects out there signifying, Nemesis, Nibiru, and this object and that object, and these timelines and the whole 9 yards. And none of it makes any sense, folks. And like I've said to all of you before, this object is not on any 3,600-year orbit. It's not on a Gil-Broussard 300 or 400-year orbit. No. This object has been orbiting our sun in a 28-day orbit since 2007 is when I first detected that type of an orbit. So, again, I had a lot of people arguing with me that Gil-Broussard was right and Dave Dobbs is right. I had some people send me some very, very threatening emails. You people are absolutely insane retards to send me those types of death threats over some guy's YouTube video who is completely off his rocker and incorrect. You just keep those emails coming. I enjoy reading them. But again, folks, I've shown all of you this evidence over these last 3.5 years now. And if this object was on Gil-Broussard's orbital theory or Dave Dobbs' orbital theory, well, nah, it just don't work. Hey, listen, if you're a fan of Gil-Broussard's and you think all of his biblical prophecy is correct, then don't watch my videos anymore. Stay the hell away from Planet X News. If you think that Dave Dobbs is correct and you want to watch his hocus pocus, stay the hell away from my YouTube channel. Don't leave stupid comments in the comment section, and don't send me threatening emails, because you must be some kind of a psycho idiot. And I could give two shits if you don't like my attitude, and I could give two shits if you think I'm arrogant. I really don't care. What I care about are the people that want to understand what is happening. Those are the people I care about. I could give two shits less about your criticism. So you go ahead, keep on hanging on Gil-Broussard and Dave Dobbs' testicles all you want. The fact of the matter is This object is here. It is part of our damn solar system. It orbits our sun just about every 28 days with the rotation of the sun. And like I've said before, if you have better evidence to prove me wrong, bring it to the table. We'll discuss it. I've opened that door many, many times, and I haven't seen anybody knocking on that door. I don't see Dave Dobbs trying to get in touch with me and say, hey, Scott, let's take a look at these theories. Well, it's not a theory. Mine is a fact. I don't see Steve Olson knocking on my door and saying, hey, let's talk about this. I don't see anybody knocking on my door and saying, hey, you know what? You're right or you're wrong. I just see a lot of people leaving idiotic comments in the comment section under my videos because they are like super fans of some other YouTube channel who has no scientific evidence, no photographic evidence whatsoever. They show you a bunch of lens flares and camera anomalies, and they point to the sky and they say, look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Nibiru, or it's Planet X. Come on, man, give me a break. Jeez. Anyway, I was using that program, and this was this crazy capture that we had on Sechi of this anomalous character. And that new photo enhancement program didn't work too well with the Sechi SREM images. Now, I took an old image. This was a photo capture of mine from the SDO back in early 2018. And you could see that monster. Ooh, you could see that monster lurking on the upper right-hand side of the sun. This was at the just about the 2 o'clock position. You could see it right here. And some idiot, emailed me. I remember when I showed these photographs and made this capture, and I had some idiot, telling me that was a coronal prominence. And I'm like, wow, in your email, you used the word prominence 4 times and you misspelled it 4 times. And you want me to take what you're saying as truth when you can't even spell the word. How about using some spell check? So if you're going to correct me, at least spell things correctly. Once again, sorry if I sound arrogant, but I believe full-heartedly in my evidence. This was another photo capture, and this was just very odd. This was a raw cut from the RDIF on one of the coronagraphs, and this one's just absolutely scary. This is your sun right here, and you can see this object. This damn thing is massive, and I have still yet to figure out what this odd-shaped, I don't want to really call it a bubble, but I just don't know what this coronagraph picked up. I don't know if this was a magnetic field interaction between Planet X and the sun. I just don't know. But this was one of the craziest pictures that I captured, and I got this just maybe 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago. And I put it through this new program to enhance it a bit. And, ooh. Here, just let that sink in a little bit. Well, I could see my email is going to be fired up later on today. I know the comment section is going to be full of all kind of, oh, you're so arrogant. Oh, you're so conceited. No, I'm not arrogant and I'm not conceited. I'm just confident in what I do. I've been doing it for a very long time. I know this damn object like the back of my hand. I only wish that, I could work with the boys in blue over there at NASA and the JPL and get access to all of their toys so I could truly see an up-close view of this monster as seen through their eyes and their technology. I mean, I don't know, there's two things that I really want to see before I die. I want to see, as they say, an alien spaceship land on the White House lawn. Take me to your leader. And I want to see unobstructed, high-definition photographs of this object lurking out there, orbiting our sun and wreaking havoc. I want to see it through the eyes of NASA or the European Space Agency. I want to see it. I want to see it as they see it. I know that will never happen, because this would cast the whole entire world into a complete state of panic. There's no doubt about that. That's why they hide it. That's why they discredit it. That's why they hire fools to make those idiotic comments in the comment section of all of my videos, and also Dr. Albers' videos. So if these people know so much more about science and this observational evidence, why aren't they producing the evidence and putting it into a video and showing it? Because they can't. They just can't. This was another photograph that I put through the this new enhancement program, and this picture got me in all kinds of trouble back in November of 2016. Also, this got WSO in a bunch of trouble. Steve had his YouTube channel taken down because of this photograph and another one, and they went after me and WSO at the same time. Took both of our, well, they suspended my channel for 7 days, but they went and tried to take down WSO for like 30 days for revealing this photograph. And all of the debunkers were out there saying that this was some type of a overlay image of the sun on the lens of the camera on the Secchi. I mean, absolutely stupid excuse by these debunkers. Just absolutely stupid. They will say anything to discredit this evidence. But that's fine. They can say what they want. And this was the famous photograph that I acquired in May of 2017, I believe May 10th. And this is still to this day the best photographic evidence of Planet X lurking near the sun. And it's not red. Because I was listening to Baby Dog, knock it off. Don't you see I'm right in the middle of a live stream here? Take a chill pill. I was watching, that Dave Dobbs video of his, and he had his model out, and he's going, this is the blue Kachina, and this is the red Kachina, and this is Nemesis, and da-da-da-da-da. Well, look, folks, I don't know if any of you know anything about the red Kachina, the blue Kachina, and Hopi Indian prophecy. But before you start taking pictures of the sky and telling people that you've captured the blue Kachina and the red Kachina up in the sky, you might want to do a little homework on that, because the blue Kachina and the red Kachina, they're like non-existent in today's, environment. There's a lot of mythology behind the blue Kachina and the red Kachina. They were possibly comets, or even meteors, or even extraterrestrial beings. It has nothing to do with Planet X, this object orbiting our sun. Whenever I see all these people posting all of this garbage on Facebook, oh, look, I got a photograph of the red Kachina. Oh, my God. Oh, look, I got a picture of the blue Kachina. Sorry, but you don't. But anyways, getting back to this photograph, I was able to use that new enhancement program, and it works out very well. Like I said, it doesn't work too well with those black and white and gray photographs from the SREM imaging or the cactus. It does clear them up just a little bit. But as you can see here, this one got really clear. I mean, we can zoom in, and this is an observatory photograph, and there's nobody out there on the face of this earth besides NASA, the European Space Agency, probably the Chinese and the Russians, and me, who has this type of photograph. And we can zoom in now that I am able to create even higher definition photographs of these objects. Look at that. I mean, that right there looks like a massive mountain structure that you would see, on a high definition moon photograph. Oh, it could be a volcano. Who knows? All the other debris, these little pieces of object that you see all around here, folks, these are about the size of Earth. These pieces of, they may be part of this object's system. I really don't know. I have only captured one photograph of this object with the other objects around it. One photograph in all these years. But we could zoom in, and this allows me to zoom in closer by converting and enhancing the photographs with this new program. I've yet to figure out what this is right here. I don't know if that is a crater. I don't know what that is. It could be a volcanic elevation of some kind. I don't know. But it looks like the surface of this object has been strifed by the sun and getting hit with so many of these coronal mass ejections over the years that it has been orbiting the sun and creating these disturbances on the sun. And if you notice the way that these striations go, it's almost like again, it was just strifed by these coronal mass ejections from the sun. Just very intense photograph to see up close what just looks like huge land formations. But I'm sure life on this object would be the worst in all of outer space, even worse than little Mercury. And if you go ahead and you look and do some investigative work into brown dwarfs are not brown. They were just named after a lady astronomer. That's at least the information that I got. But brown dwarves are not brown. But this one here, this is the monster. This is the big boy that orbits the sun. This is the object that causes the damage. Right there. Pretty amazing. You know, folks, there's not a day that goes by I don't pull this photograph up and take a look at it. It just amazes me, especially to see some of these raised structures. Pretty intense. And this was before I did the enhancement, and the enhancement, you know, it did touch up a good bit on that photograph. Now, this was just 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. I sent this photograph over to Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel, and I let him show it to all of his subscribers and his followers firsthand before I divulged the info. And it was on the 9th, just a couple of days ago. And you can see Sunspot 29, what is it? 2738. Right there. This sunspot, just a few days back, let's just go back to the 4th. Remember, I just showed you those photographs from April 4th in the very beginning. This sunspot was back behind the sun. Looky what we got there. Boo, 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 boo. And what color is it? It's blue. No, no, no. It's not the blue Kachina. But this is showing you how close this object gets to the sun. So close that it's literally enveloped in the sun's corona. Zoom in there a little bit. I can't zoom in. That's all I can zoom in on there. Oh, no, I can. Here we go. And you could see it right there. So this object was lurking just back behind the sun, and it was probably over here and interacting with this sunspot as it made its way around. Now, this object has moved off and moved out of the view of the SDO in this type of a pattern, because this is the way that it would be moving, downward in a diagonal pattern. This sunspot is now moving this way. This object will now loop around and go back behind the sun. As the sun rotates on its axis every 28 days, this object is looping around in a diagonal orbit, an eccentric orbit around the sun. If you don't think that that is possible, go delve into some orbital science and orbital dynamics of stars and planets. I mean, you just look into the orbit of Mercury. Mercury has a slightly eccentric orbit around the sun. So does Pluto. Not all of our planets are on this flat plane orbit. We do have some exceptions. And this object, Mr. Planet X over there, is one of those exceptions. So this is just some of the newest evidence that I've come up with just over the last couple of days. And I previewed a lot of this evidence over on our new private network, which is going along very, very well. We even had one of the notorious trolls cough up $10 and start a membership. And, you know, he didn't cause any trouble. He sent me some rude, internal messages. And then he canceled his subscription, which you can do at any time. And he said, oh, this is just the same stuff that I see from your YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. Bunch of garbage and this and that. Well, I happened to recognize his profile picture, and I happened to recognize his name. And I replied to his message and I said, yeah, your photograph looks a hell of a lot like a troll that I've been fighting with back and forth for the last 2 years. Nice to see that you got your debit card out and you decided to join us on our private membership network. And within 24 hours, folks, boom, he was gone. So even the troll babies want to see what's available on our private network. And again, folks, like I've said, there's a lot of things that I can't just throw up here on YouTube on a daily basis. I'm still right now embroidered with a very nasty legal battle with YouTube right now. And they got letters from my attorney just this past week, in the beginning of the week. And they're bound to get some more. And I'm not going to quit. I don't care how much money it costs me. The $250 that I shelled out to my attorney to get a letter over to their office was well worth it. Because I'm tired of the censoring. And just yesterday, the day before, in Washington, D.C., they had those twits from Twitter and also Facebook testifying once again in front of Congress about their shadow banning and their dethrottling and their censoring of material. Yeah. You want to hear something else? Listen to this. Just yesterday, I get this notification from Facebook, an invitation, an exclusive invitation to set up and, join in with this private fan funding subscription program. They actually came to Planet X News and asked if we would like to participate in this new program. They're experimenting with it. It's an experimental program where subscribers, you can subscribe to a private network, a private page for $4.99 a month. And Facebook takes 30% of it plus all kinds of fees. And, you're supposed to get exclusive content and exclusive live streams and exclusive videos. But the thing about it is they censor the information. They don't notify the 50,000 people that follow me on Facebook, just on Planet X News. My public figure page, there's another 27,000 that follow me there. There's another 93,000 that follow me on the MFA Media Group. But I don't know. I think that our private network is working out very, very well. We've actually increased our numbers just over the past week. And I'm starting to get Dr. Albers information up there. And this weekend, we're going to start uploading Dr. Albers' reports to our new drive. We're going to make those reports available to all of our members. And I'm going to start on some of these exclusive videos showing some content and getting into some things that I just can't talk about here on YouTube or even Facebook. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I'm going to be doing a video, and I'm going to be talking about an interview that I did with a chemtrail pilot back in 2016, a face-to-face interview. The man's from the Pittsburgh area here. And I'm going to go ahead and divulge all of that information, all of the photographs, and all of his statements, even though he had to write everything down during our interview because the poor man was just riddled with cancer, and several months before our interview, he had his tongue removed in a surgery. So he wasn't able to talk anymore. He had to write everything down. And shortly after our interview, he passed away on Christmas Eve 2016. But he divulged a lot of information to me. And yeah. Got a lot of respect for that man. Even though what he was doing as a job was spraying poison in the sky, he didn't know it. He didn't really know it to the end, I still keep in touch with his wife. Joe passed away a couple of years ago, and it's pretty sad. It's very sad to see what happened to his body. The big sores just eating his skin away. And the man was perfectly healthy, before he started his chemtrail pilot career, which only lasted 5 years. He was a commercial airline pilot for 20 years before that, and he retired. And he just got the itch to fly again, and one of his buddies says, "Hey man, check out this program I'm working in. Government program, pays good. Can't talk about it, but you'll be home every night with your family." And 5 years in that program cost him his life. Brings a real shock back to reality. There's a lot of weird things going on up there in our skies. Weird cloud formations, rectangles, squares, triangles, chemtrailing on a daily basis, clouds that just don't move. Really weird stuff. And it's only going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. But just keep taking those photographs, folks. You never know what you're going to capture. Hey, you can capture a UFO. I mean, I've captured many of them. Capturing these very weird cloud formations. We've had several meteors zipping into the Earth's atmosphere. One over Spain, just 24 hours ago. Puerto Rico, they were pretty good sightings. All of that information is all available on our private network. All of the information related to weather, some very good exclusive videos, and Brazil just getting absolutely hammered and completely flooded. Can't put any of that up on my YouTube channel. They come knocking on my door, my YouTube door, and telling me, "Oh, you're violating our community standards." But it's okay for, the BBC or NBC or CBS or the crap news network to show it, but I can't show it and I can't report on it. Why? So I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of the censoring, and hopefully something gets done legally with these social media giants that think they're untouchable and they could just censor whoever they want to. Who knows? But I like the ability to jump on our new private network and get information out there. I'm going to be uploading longer videos, and you'll have a link to it. And again, you can just click on the link and it will take you right to our video, and you can sit there and you can watch it in your own privacy and not have to worry about, people trolling you and making absurd comments. It's just ridiculous. And like I said, Dr. Albers will be submitting her reports, and we'll be uploading those. And you can sit down and you can read those for yourself. Now, we were going to make those available for download, but, there's too much of a potential for other people out there to start using her material and her reports to put her down. And I'm just not going to have that. I'm not going to stand for that. But the reports are there for you to read, and I'm going to be working on that this weekend. And again, if you have the want and the will to join our private network, please do. There's 2 tiers. There's a $5 tier for the generalized information, and there's quite a bit of that. I make a lot of information available on that $5 tier, but all of our videos and videos that of floodings and disasters, that's all in the $10 tier. All of the reports will be in the $10 tier. And again, folks, like I said, I still get people complaining that they can't afford that. I do make some information available for the public on our private network. I have the ability to do that. But you guys have to understand something. I have been doing this for a very, very long period of time. And we're getting into a very how could I put it? We're getting into a very explosive time within the information highway. So much of it is being censored. Just look at my YouTube channel. I got over 80-some thousand subscribers, but we can't get more than a few thousand views because YouTube has buried our channel. Google has buried our websites. Our books are getting banned in different countries. And I'm sure all the little troll babies just love to hear that. But hey, it is what it is. When I see a roadblock, I form a plan to get around it. And gathering the information that I do on a daily basis and providing it to all of you, that's my job. That's what I do. And there are other truthers out there that have been contacting me and asking me about these new private networks. I've had a few of them state, I don't know if my subscribers are going to go for that. They seem like they're all cheap. And I'm like, well, hey, I don't know if, you should be referring to your subscribers as cheapos, but, $5 and $10 a month to some people is a lot. They can't afford it. So you're going to have to just try to work it out. Because doing this type of work, folks, and doing it full time, it does run into expenses. Just my cable and internet bill every month is about $250 because I've got super high speed internet access. I've got a boatload of equipment in this office. I got 5 computers. I've got, programs that I buy, and I just bought this expensive photographic enhancement program. And over the years, I've invested just what I have here in my office, probably well over $6,000 worth of equipment just sitting here. Microphones and, this and that. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. Now, it's not your responsibility for all of you guys to pitch in and pay for it. No. But just letting you know that investing all of this time, 12 to 14 hours a day, doing this type of work, and not having anybody writing you out a paycheck every single week like all of you get. You all have employers. You work 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, and you know what your paycheck's going to be. And just over the last couple of years, YouTube has destroyed YouTube earnings. We're getting hit with banning our books around the world. That has all dropped. So, we got a little bit of revenue from book sales, not that much, Facebook, same thing. It's just become a pay to play. If you want your Facebook page to be seen by all of your subscribers, you have to pay Facebook. Pay to play. So I would have to boost all of my Facebook articles, and they would then put those articles out in front of, like another 100,000 people. Well, I can't afford to shell out $1,000 a week for Facebook advertising. Just can't do it. So it is what it is. I'm not out here pandering for, donations and things of that nature, but I do want you to join our private network because to me, it's the safest thing out there. I don't have YouTube up my ass. I don't have Facebook up my ass, Twitter up my ass. I follow the rules and I provide the information that I'm finding, and I have some place to put it without being bothered, without having somebody abuse my time, like what I'm going through right now with YouTube. YouTube's being very, very unfair, and they're actually going to end up in a lawsuit. They've actually exposed themselves to a legitimate lawsuit from me. And I'm actually working on it. They've got 10 days to reply to the letter that my lawyer sent to them. And they are out of line. And what they're doing right now, I don't want to get into too much of it, but what they're doing is actually against federal law. Yeah. And all I asked them to do was something very simple. Follow your own damn rules, regulations, and policies. Don't make shit up just for me. Now, they're probably doing it to many other YouTube channels. But I'm not going to stand for it. And, again, that's more money out of my pocket to fight them. And then we have that bozo out there, Chris Potter, who keeps stalking me and Dr. Albers. Oh my, this guy is a complete nutcase. He should be locked up in a straitjacket and the key thrown away. He is that demented. So, I go through a lot in the course of my day. And I dedicate all of my time goes to the truth community. I don't have a life anymore. I don't go out partying. I don't even see my friends and family hardly anymore. I dedicate my entire life to what you're looking at right now. And I'll continue to do it to the day I die. And who knows? That could be tomorrow. That could be 30 years from now. Who knows? But don't ever think that, I'm one of these YouTubers out there pandering for your money. It's not about that. But things do have expenses. You can't just call up your cable company and say, hey, I don't want to pay my cable bill this month because I think it should be free. they'll laugh at you and shut your shit right off. So the private network does have expenses. I've mentioned that before. The big servers, hey, they cost a lot of money. Electricity, hey, you all pay it. It all costs a bunch of money. And again, if you're watching and listening to me either on your computer or a cell phone, you're paying for internet access, you're paying for cell phone access. I've had a few people say, oh, you're wrong about that. My son or my daughter pays for my cell phone. Oh, well, that's just fantastic. Kudos to you. But not everybody has that luxury. So our full monthly membership is $10 a month. The link to our Subscribestar private network is in the description box under our videos. And jump in there and join us. You can send me private messages right there, and I get them very quickly. And it beats going through all of these emails that I get. I'm not putting down all of your emails, folks, but a lot of the emails that I get are just wanting me to look at lens flares in the sky. I go through them very quickly. I can't answer each and every one of you. And if you've been watching my YouTube channel for at least the last 6 months to a year, then you should be able to determine by now what a lens flare is, and you're not looking at a planet up in the sky. You're not. These objects are more than 100 million miles away from Earth. Just think of it this way. Whenever we're able to see Jupiter in the nighttime sky, you can't even hardly pick Jupiter out with the naked eye when it's visible. And Jupiter is a pretty damn big planet, the largest planet in our solar system. So just think if there was an object way out there, 100 million miles away, that was about 7 times the size of Jupiter. It would be a little bit bigger, but it would still be 100+ million miles away. Do you really think that you would be seeing it in the clouds? And if you think an object that size is that close to Earth and we're still living, you got to think about that. We're trying to deal with the truth, not deceit. Got a lot of people out there on YouTube, folks, that are deceiving you. A lot of hoaxsters. A lot of fraudsters. They just want the notoriety. They couldn't give 2 shits about getting real information out to you guys. They don't make real discoveries. They don't do their homework. They just look around the internet for interesting pictures that they could use to fool all of you. There's no planets in the clouds. That's an impossibility. There's no planets in the FAA webcams. There are no planets on the All Skycam network. There's not. This object is, just about, anywhere between the 93 million and 100 million miles away, orbiting our sun. What makes you think that you're going to be able to see it from Earth? And if you could see it from Earth, if it did give off its own light, all it would look like is a little tiny ball of light that you would not even be able to distinguish between stars. So I'm not trying to be arrogant like some of you like to say. I'm not being condescending. I'm being real. I'm being honest. That's what you should expect from me. Honesty. If you don't like my honesty, turn my channel off. Don't come back here anymore. Go to the fraudster channels. If you like watching that type of Captain Kangaroo crap, more power to you. If you believe in the real truth and honesty, then you'll stick around here. And you'll accept the truth for what it is. Because that's exactly what I show you. I'm going to end this live stream right now, folks. I'm going to get back to arguing with Facebook and YouTube. And I'm going to continue monitoring our weather, because it looks like, over the next 48 hours, things are going to get pretty dicey in different parts of this country. And say a prayer for everybody out there that is experiencing this tragic weather worldwide. I'm also working on gathering some information on what I think is happening in South America and Central America. You might all find this very interesting. I'm gathering some informational resources together, and I think there's something very very odd happening in South America and Mexico and Central America. It has to do with this big immigration debacle at our borders here in the United States. I don't think it has anything to do with people just wanting to come to the United States to jump the border. I've been receiving some intel on some really different information. So I have to gather more of it. I have to vet that information to make sure it's real. And I've actually been thinking about this for quite some time. When I gather all of this, I'm going to put it out there. Because so far, what I've been investigating with that matter, it all seems to be coming together. And a lot of what we see transpiring out there in the media and politics is almost like a charade. So beware. Listen, folks, keep an eye in the sky. Keep taking those photographs. And stay tuned to Planet X News. Join our private network as soon as you can. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching, and be safe out there, folks.